I've had a lot of people at work in the Air Force look at me and say, I don't know what you're doing, but I got to start working out like you. I struggled for probably the first 5-6 years of my career with my PT test, which is a physical fitness test that we have to take. Could barely pass, mostly failed. With BODi, doing job 1, and then following up with 645 and lift 4, those 3 combined helped improve my run and my core drastically. I was able to max my sit-ups, max my push-ups, and run the fastest 1.5 miles that I've ever ran. And then I started actually using 645 as my 13-week prep for my PT test for every one of them.
In this world of influencers where I got to do all this convincing, your success with the PT test has done the convincing. So your audience is like, I'll just have what he's having.
Yeah.
I really appreciate people like you that show the simplicity and keep it right side up. It's about being healthy, having strength, mobility, energy, speed. And hey, I might make a couple extra grand a month or more by sharing that. That's the win to me. Hey, it's Carl Deichler, CEO of BODi, and welcome to another edition of the BODi Experience Podcast. Let me tell you a little story. So I was on a call with the guy who sets this all up for me, Artie Mayer. And I said, Artie, I want to interview somebody who experienced 2 things. One is that the BODi platform and ecosystem was instrumental to their career. And second, that the concept of sharing their experience and success getting fit with the BODi platform as an affiliate has complemented their income. I want somebody with both of those stories in their overall BODi experience. And lo and behold, they found the perfect guy, because I have been watching him from afar actually for a year now and been so impressed with his consistency and his enthusiasm for sharing his journey. And I want you to be just as impressed, or at least enjoy the story. Please welcome to the BODi Experience, Jacob McGuff. Welcome, Jacob.
Hey, Carl. Nice to be here. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you here, man. I've been watching you on Instagram. I feel like we're best friends. But before we get into why you post so much, how you post, and what you're thinking, I want to go back in time. You got to tell your story because you're in the military. So I want to know about your story about making it into the Air Force and how BODi played a role.
All right, well, I joined the Air Force in 2013, joined the military out of shape. I weighed 151 pounds at 6 foot, so I was a skinny man. I gained 20 pounds in basic training, not good 20 pounds. And I struggled for probably the first 5-6 years of my career with my PT test, which is a physical fitness test that we have to take. At the time, it was every 6 months or once a year if you scored high enough. However, I struggled, could barely pass, mostly failed.
What kind of things do they make you do in the PT test?
It was strength training. You do push-ups, sit-ups. They would measure your waist, and then you have a run for the cardio aspect. And at the time, it was 1.5 miles, and now it's 2 miles. We made it a little more difficult. Not for me now, but for me back then, it would have been really difficult to do.
So you made it into the Air Force, and you're struggling with is it an annual PT test?
At the time, it was every 6 months for me, and I was always injured in some way. It's either rolled my ankle, and I'd be exempt from the PT test, so I get a free pass, or something would be broken or strained or sprained, something, and I always got a free pass for so long, and I never got in shape. And once I came out of that and I had to recover, I struggled, and then I had my appendix removed and my lungs collapsed, and I was even more medical problems for 3 years, not having to do a PT test. So I spent the first 6 years or so of my career not having to be tested. Coming off of that was very hard for me to get involved in health and wellness and fitness overall because I was clueless. I didn't know where to start.
I can't imagine. So where did you start?
Funny story. I met my wife the first day that I PCS to Florida on the beach, and we started dating, and she would force me to go run with her. She would say, it's your job, you got to run. And I would say, I don't want to. But she'd make me run. And then she'd say, hey, for your core, just go in there and do some core exercises, hop on a machine, do something. So I transitioned into running with her and kind of trying to build up some chest strength and some core strength so I could do the push-ups, sit-ups, and run. And then I watched her do the beach body workouts at the time in the living room, thinking, that'll never be me. Tell you that right now.
Why would you think that? Just because of the intensity of it, or what was it? Just not your thing?
I think it was a mental block that I had. I would just tell myself that's for women. It's not for men.
Mm.
And then she was doing lift 4, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try this finisher off with Joel with you, and it's triple bears. I got 2 seconds in and I quit. And I was like, okay. And then I started doing Jennifer Jacobs' Job 1. That's what I started doing. Actually, she talked me into it. She convinced me. She said, hey, you should try Job 1 or 645 or lift 4. I think it'd be great for you. So I did Job 1 first, completed it, felt great, did 645, and then I did lift 4, went back to 645. And then from then on, I've been just a shoe-in with Beachbody and BODi the entire time.
So at what point in that journey, Job 1, 645 one time, lift 4, back to 645, at what point did the engagement with our platform result in you seeing that you could actually excel at the PT test?
So with my PT test, for the longest, I've struggled with the run. Difficult to run a mile, let alone a mile and a half.
Mm.
And the sit-ups, they're more like crunches really, but the sit-up portion, I just didn't have the abdominal strength to do the sit-ups properly and to reach the minimal score, even the minimum. And that was, I think, 42 at the time in 1 minute. That was my struggle. Reaching the sit-ups and the run. The push-ups, I was fine. I could do the push-ups. So with BODi, doing Job 1 and then following up with 645 and lift 4, those 3 combined, especially 645, those 13 weeks, helped improve my run and my core drastically. I was able to max my sit-ups, max my push-ups, and run the fastest mile and a half that I've ever ran.
But you still had to take the test every year. So
I take it every year. It went from every 6 months to every year because I would score a 90 or higher. So I was able to test once a year in February in Florida, where it's actually nice and cool. And then I started actually using 645 as my 13-week prep for my PT test for every one of them.
why'd you choose that?
I hate running. Let's just start there. I hate running. I mean, I signed up for a half marathon in December now, but I still hate running. However, because I don't like to run, like especially at that time, I didn't run a whole lot. 645 had very, very, very heavy cardio in it. And it was more athletic style training, which I grew up with, playing sports, played baseball for 6 to 8 years or so, something like that growing up, played basketball. And just the athletic style training was just, it's my go-to.
Yeah, I like that about 645. What I like that he did was he incorporated deceleration, which you really don't get a lot in home fitness, which is so critical to performance on and off the field. It's the ability to decelerate fast that gives you an advantage over somebody who's got too much speed and they just keep going right by you. So that makes a lot of sense to me. So what happened over time with your consistency and with your overall fitness in the last 5 years?
In the last 5 years, I've stayed very consistent and haven't missed I think I've missed maybe 3 or 4 days total when it
Wow.
comes to scheduled, like following a program. And that was due to, I got pretty sick during P90X challenge, Generation Next. I had a heavy cough. I'm going to continue P90X later on. Right now I'm doing 25 minutes speed train with 10K. His calendar to train for a 10K so I can get up to 7 miles comfortably. But the past 5 years, it's been just consistency, sticking with the BODi platform.
So you had been a coach, and then obviously we unwound the whole network model and transitioned to an affiliate model. And all of a sudden I see your name climbing the ranks of affiliates. And, you're doing maybe a daily post, a few stories a day. And I'm like, who is this guy? What motivated you to continue on? Because a lot of people were just like, you know what? The network had been good to them. They didn't like the transition to affiliate. And so, they sort of took off and protest or just didn't want to be involved. But then a handful of people decided to continue as affiliates and had really good success with it, like I'm seeing you have. What made you decide to keep going?
Just the platform itself, the workouts, I can't do without them. That's the idea. Like I literally can't. And I told my wife, which told her, I was like, hey, I'm just going to switch mine over to the affiliate. I'm just going to share. That's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to share, see where it goes. We don't know. So I would just do like I normally did, record, share, except this time, because it's affiliate based, add a link. And then it just started getting traction. I just started getting people messaging me, commenting, asking, talking. I had someone that I know personally reach out that's talked about starting BODi and using it again because they used it during Beachbody days back in the day when they're on discs. And he finally reached out and was like, hey, I need to start. He did the OG P90X the last time he did it. He was like, he wanted to try the new one.
Now you said as an affiliate, all you're doing is sort of sharing what you're doing, but you now add a link. I assume you mean add a link to your stories and to like
Yes.
your profile.
Yes, the affiliate links. Yeah, I'll go in, add it, put a little caption in it, say, hey, click here, browse here, look here, sales are here, whatever's going on. I just post it, share it, and let everybody know.
So I'm curious. I've never asked this to anybody, by the way. I'm curious what your experience of that is compared to when you were in a multi-level marketing environment. Like how does this work for you? How do you like this experience as an affiliate, maybe versus being in a network?
I like it because it doesn't feel as secretive. Like you can post and say, hey, this is what I'm using, this platform, I'm using this program, I'm doing this, what I'm doing. Here's the link directly to it. Ask me if you have questions. Then on aspect side of it, you are having to kind of play the secretive game sometimes and let everybody know what you're doing so they don't go straight to the company or straight here or to someone else. That's because they know they're doing it too.
I see.
But yeah, it's that aspect. I just like to be able to share.
So I see. So because you're sharing, so now it's just a matter of convenience. The link is right there. They see what you're doing for motivation. They see you're consistent, but there's no reason for them because they're not necessarily joining into a organization. So they might as well just use the convenience of your link.
Yeah, actually, I've had a lot of people at work I work with, like in the Air Force, look at me and say, I got to start working out like you. I don't know what you're doing, but I got to start working out like you. And I'm like, I do 25 minutes a day. It's pretty easy to find.
So what do you actually do in the Air Force?
I am a munition systems career field. It's a career field that I'm in, aka ammo. We build bombs to put on aircraft.
Oh man.
Well, yeah, warheads on foreheads kind of thing. Yeah.
Is that dangerous work?
I do because I'm an instructor now in Texas. I actually tell the students it's the safest, most dangerous job you'll work.
So you do it from behind a wall while they're learning?
Yeah, I teach them how to do it now.
Right. Well, look, we appreciate your service, and to the extent that the platform played a role in you performing your job and excelling at your job, is all that much more meaningful. Obviously, we really do like to support anybody who's serving the country. We like to do it whether it's through the revenue opportunity as an affiliate or how we get involved with the Save a Warrior Foundation, or military discounts and that type of thing. You said that you're in the middle of, or you're finishing up 25-minute speed train?
I'm in the middle of week 2.
Okay.
I just finished 25-minute speed train a couple weeks ago. And because I signed up for the half marathon, my wife's going to do the full down in Mississippi. I'm using 25-minute speed train with Joel's calendar for the 10K training along with it. And then after that, I'm going to roll into 645 because of the athletic, the deceleration, all the stuff that comes with it. And then I'll tailor it off with the 4 or 5 day calendar with Chopwood Carry Water. And that'll end literally 3 days before the half marathon.
Oh, okay. That's perfect.
So it's like, it's perfect timing. It's perfect timing.
Yeah. So when's the half marathon?
December 13th.
Oh, okay. Got it. So you got yourself planned out through December.
Oh yeah. I got the whole year planned. I usually do. Usually it's planned out, like typically because my PT test will fall in February, I'll plan it out to where I'm working out. I'm doing 645 in the winter because it's cold outside, especially here, and I can do cardio in this gym.
So what do you say to somebody, I'm sure, and I've heard these things and seen the statistics that the military is really struggling with the fitness of its enlisted corps. Like it's a thing. What do you say to the folks who are struggling the way you did in the early days?
So the personal ones that I know that I talk to, even the students, I tell them that it is hard because education wise, we're not, and in the military, we're not trained and taught nutrition. We have it available to us. We have a nutritionist on every base. We have personal trainers on every base. However, it's not one of the things that's really pushed as often. Here
Mm.
recently has become a little more pushed for that reason because of the struggles. But for me, my wife's certified nutrition coach and certified personal trainer. Whatever she's taught me, I literally pass on to them saying, hey, this is how I do it. This is how I've learned it. But coworkers, I go in a little more detail. I'm like, hey, the BODi platform has this, has 2 nutrition programs that are fantastic, has these workouts, different styles. And then I'll talk to them, figure out what they like, and then say, hey, if you want to try it, let me know. I literally dedicated myself to, I'm going to do this. I'm going to follow a nutrition plan. And I picked 2B Mindset. I get to eat more, so I enjoyed it.
So to be mindset, that's like veggies most. How do you do with that?
It was hard
Yeah.
because I grew up in Alabama and veggies were evil growing up in a small town. Like, eat your veggies. Nope, don't want to. So it's very difficult for me to grasp the concept of having veggies with all my food. So
Mhm.
I actually enjoyed it a lot because I actually found out there's a lot of vegetables I actually like.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I have yet to find that. So good for you. Shakeology is really the only vegetable that I like. How helpful is the extra $1,000 or $2,000 a month that you're making being an affiliate?
Yeah, seeing the extra income, it helps drastically.
Well, we really appreciate your help and support there. That's what's so great about this community. And I'm hoping that what we're going to do this summer and then into the fall is actually going to be pretty compelling motivation for people to want to be affiliates and want to share it because there's sort of, I think, two enemies crept into this. It used to be such a beautiful part of the Beachbody experience, and I want to get back to it. That the two enemies are, one, people are busier than ever, and frankly, there's so much entertainment, so many other things to do, and it's just very difficult for people to fitness and plan their nutrition in order to have it under control, that it sort of gets away from them. And that's when this thing called lifestyle disease can really mess somebody's life up. Type 2 diabetes, heart disease, even forms of cancer that statistically and scientifically have been proven to be a consequence of poor nutrition and lack of activity. And the other, that sort of enemy at the gate, is or was the complexity of the MLM and what started as such a joy for people. They absolutely loved this people helping people model, but then it turned into this high pressure chore and all the fun got smoked out of it, and you're sharing up and down line. And we just said, what if we simplify it? And I think that's what we're trying to do right now. Get back to the simplicity. Like you said, you share what you're doing, post a link. You don't have to be secretive about it. You don't have to be manipulative about it. People just click on your link and you get that credit. And if they come back and buy something within the window of the cookie that happened because they clicked on your link, you're going to get credit for that too. And I just think it's such a simpler system for people to navigate, with that incentive that, hey, if I stay consistent with my fitness and share like what supplements I'm taking, how I'm getting energized for my workout, how I'm finishing this program, how it's affecting my overall life, and here's a link if you want that for you. It's just such a no-brainer. Like, it's in this world of influencers where I think, you got to do all this convincing. Your behavior does the convincing. Your success with the PT test has done the convincing. So your audience is like, I'll just have what he's having. and it
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
just that much simpler. I really appreciate people like you that show the simplicity and keep it right side up. It's about being healthy, having strength, mobility, agility, energy, speed, cardiovascular health. And hey, I might make a couple extra grand a month or more by sharing that. That's the win to me. And I really appreciate you coming on here and sharing the fact that it can be that simple. Sure, it takes consistency, but you really make it look simple. And I appreciate you doing that for us. the fact that you got over that hump and you took control of your health and well-being. We're grateful. It's the greatest pleasure of my job is to be able to see people do something positive with this platform like this, which could just be, just making workouts, selling workouts, try to maximize the sales. But when I see somebody's life and career impacted the way it has done for you, and the fact that your family gets to earn that extra income just because you're sharing the fact that you're being consistent with your fitness and nutrition, that makes my job fun. And I'm really grateful for that.
Well, I'll tell you this. I don't share links. I don't share any of that to make just the extra income. I share it because I want to share BODi. I want to get BODi out there. I like the workouts. I've tried other workouts. I've tried other things before, and nothing compares to the way that y'all actually design these programs. I just want to say that.
I appreciate that.
Nothing compares.
Thank you, Jacob. Look, that's what we do here at the BODi Experience. We look for stories. We're going to be looking for your stories. If you want us to consider you for an episode of the BODi Experience podcast, you just tag at BODi Stories, and you can even just tag me. I'll be looking for you too. We're looking for people who help inspire others to take control of their health and well-being with activity, lifestyle change, finding a way to get conscious about what you're eating. Doesn't mean you can't enjoy food. It just means you can enjoy it in the appropriate portions and with the right emphasis on the different macros. And that's why this has worked for 28 years. That's why we don't have to fake before and after photos, because it's all real. We have thousands of them. And Jacob's just one example of somebody who decided to go for it, finally pulled it all together. So I hope that maybe motivates you. And if you're looking for something that maybe can earn you a little bit of extra money at the same time, that extra motivation to stay consistent with your workouts and nutrition, to be able to, hey, I did my workout today. You post a photo, a sweaty selfie, or maybe a moment from your workout with a link, your own affiliate link. You can earn money just like Jacob does, just like thousands of others do as BODi affiliates. So you can check it out at BODi.com. In the meantime, we appreciate you watching this episode of the BODi Experience podcast, and we hope you join our community. We call it the BODi Experience community for a reason, because we want people to have this kind of positive experience with it. So thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time.